Hello, everyone. Tonight is going to be it's not a true crime night. I'm sorry. Tomorrow night, we've got a great show lined up for you. We're going to be going after that defense attorney. Some of the things she said I'm going to be calling her out. So be ready. It's going to be a great show tomorrow night. I've got my pit bulls on it, and we've been pulling up stuff, and we're going to bring you a lot of good content tomorrow night. We're going to call Miss Ann Taylor out and hold her accountable for some of the things she said. Not like we can do anything, but as I've said multiple times, I know she's been admonished for some of the stuff she's done. And this last motion that I see she's filed, smoke and mirrors, people. Don't worry about it. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's for tomorrow night. But tonight, you see my shirt. I hold this organization. Oh, I got it. I'm all messed up with the camera. Dear to my heart. I have somebody that's very close to me, the love of my life, that died of cancer. The mother of my two oldest boys, Tyler and Alex. And it was a very, very, very rare form of cancer back then. Now, because of her name is Angela. Because of her, there are now tests. There's genetic tests through the blood, and there's actually a urine test now. But it's called a PHEOCHROMOCYTOma. It's PHEOCHROMOCYTOMA. It's misspelled in here. Not my fault. I didn't have time to fix it, but that's the proper spelling. I just caught it before we came live, and I'm like, dang it. But that's okay. It's just a thumbnail. This form of cancer is, for lack of a better term, it's not been diagnosed for many, 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 many years. A lot of people have died from it. President Eisenhower, we don't know if he died from that, but we know that he had it, because usually this cancer would only be found post-mortem. During an autopsy, they would find it because it was around the kidneys and the adrenal gland, and they would find the tumor post-mortem. So what's a pheochromocytoma? It's a type of neuroendocrine tumor that grows from cells called chromatin cells. These cells produce hormones needed for the body and found in the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are small organs located in the upper region of the abdomen and on top of the kidneys. So basically, you're going to hear an interview that Jeff and I did with my son earlier, my oldest son, Tyler, who has really struggled with his mother's death. He's never gotten over it. And this is a twofold podcast, because he's an alcoholic. He's an extremely smart young man. He actually went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, which is a very hard school to get into. He's got 3 degrees from there. But he's never got over his mother's death. He could have played D1 baseball, but he stayed here because she was sick, and he got a scholarship there to play ball. Actually went to the World Series 3 times for NAIA, and that's held in Lewiston, Idaho, which is, of course, the Idaho 4. Lewiston is named after Lewis and Clark, that area. But we're going to have a conversation. about some of the absolute terror that my wife Angela went through. I'm gonna get broke up. You're gonna hear me several times um, lose it a little bit. Tyler, and talking, you can hear him. He's consuming alcohol. He's getting more inebriated, more inebriated. He wanted to come on the show. I asked him not to drink, but he drank anyway, and you'll be able to tell. So I apologize for that, but this is reality. I want to talk about it. I want to get awareness out there because what happens is it's not specific to women, but it's mostly in women. When Angela was diagnosed, um, it was let me play this short video, and I'm gonna cut it off in the after a couple minutes of it. But this young lady has a podcast, but she talks about what it feels like to have pheochromocytoma. And everyone can look this up. You can look up all these links. But basically, people think you're crazy because of this, because you have episodes where adrenaline is dumped into your bloodstream you have no warning. You could be walking, being just totally normal, and bam, you have a massive adrenaline dump in your bloodstream, and you start to hyperventilate. You have heart palpitations, and in the past, now they're starting to be able to diagnose it, but in the past, you go to the ED with this, and they diagnose you with some kind of mental disorder, or you need to be on Xanax. You're just stressed out. No, I think this personally, I believe that this cancer has been around forever and has been overlooked, not found, misdiagnosed, blamed on PMS or some other hormonal issue. That's why I can't stand it when I hear a man blame a lady who's having issues on PMS. You don't know that. Everything is not PMS related. There's other things that I want to bring out here so everyone can see that if you're having this, or you know someone that's having these types of things happen to you, if you just have this uncontrollable, you know, anxiety and rage that just all of a sudden hits you, and there's really nothing going on in your life. You can't explain it. Your heart races, you have palpitations, you go to the ED, they can't figure it out. They think you might have AFib. You don't have AFib. You do all this stuff. They put you on all these meds. Nothing works. You could have a pheo. And because of Angela, she in the end gave herself to science. They flew her all over the country. And because of her, she's in medical journals. There's tests. There's a DNA test because it's congenital. You can pass it on to your children. She's had this since she was about 7 years old, just like this young lady that I'm going to play for you. And I'm going to cut it off because it gets into other stuff, and you guys can look her up and watch it for yourself. And then you're gonna hear the interview that Jeff and I do with my son. So without further ado, so watch this for just a couple minutes, and then I'll come back. So you heard what she said there. Kind of makes you feel crazy. That says it all. It made Angela crazy. She couldn't control it. I would grab her and hold her and tell her it's okay, gonna be okay. It's okay. The major regret I have in my life is I gave up on her. 9 years. 9 years I fought with her over this. Had her to multiple doctors. And it wasn't until after I filed for divorce and we were divorced and she had remarried that we found out. And you're going to hear me talk about it in this interview. I may stop the video. Jeff and I did it earlier. It was hard on my son. I'm trying to create some sort of an outlet for him. And in the very end, I want you to listen to the prayer that I asked Jeff to do. And my son says, he's got his eyes closed, and he says, I'm seeing chains. I'm seeing chains and rust coming off of the chains. It's the most riveting thing, one of the most riveting things I've ever heard. I don't know if God or Angela was there saying, knock the rust off, son. Get back on your feet. I'm okay. I don't know. But something happened to him in the end. And he's not religious anymore. This has turned him away from God. I want to bring him back. But I've done all I can do. So I don't want anyone to take this, and I'm going to say it right now. This is not an attack on anyone, and especially not Angela or my son. Angela was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful mother, an excellent wife. She was bubbly, beautiful, vivacious, happy. She just had a disease that we didn't know about. So sit back and I'm sorry, this isn't about true crime, but to me, this is a crime. And the crime was we had her to multiple hospitals, multiple specialists, and they all basically said, you know, you're bipolar, manic depressive, you're crazy, basically. Here's a pill, here's a pill, here's a pill. That's the crime here. We've had no recourse, nothing we could do. So I'm going to play this video, and everyone, I appreciate if you could please donate. You'll see it in my thumbnail. You'll see in the bottom. You'll see where you can donate to the PHEOCHROMO. Just donate if you can, or just to the Cancer Society in general. Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Tonight I wanted to do a tribute to someone who's very important in my life, in my kids' lives, who was taken from us by a horrible form of cancer. Her name was Angela. Her maiden name was Angie Dean, and she was the love of my life. In 1988, I worked in a club as a bouncer called 701 South in Daytona Beach. This is when I was in college. And you'd have to understand Daytona back in the day was the spring break capital of the world. I mean, we had MTV was here all the time. MTV was actually at 701. We had, you know, multiple bands on the pool deck. And this was back when Pauly Shore was, you know, the Weasel was everywhere. You had all the Budweiser commercials, and you had Spud McKenzie everywhere. You know, shirts, T-shirts, Spud McKenzie here, Spud McKenzie there, Pauly Shore was here. You know, the MTV crew, downtown, Julie Brown. I met all of them. They were all in Daytona at one time. It was a good time. And spring break, the epicenter for spring break, as far as clubs were back then, was called 701 South. And it was actually 701 South Atlantic, which was the Texan hotel. And the whole bottom, 90% of the bottom of the hotel was the nightclub. And I was working in there one night. It was probably, I think it was early January, February, and 1988. And I used to clock out early just so I could dance if it wasn't really crazy busy. And so I'm down there dancing, and I'm dancing around with a couple other locals that always dance with me. And I clearly don't have a girlfriend, you know, I'm having fun. And all of a sudden I get this tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and, you know, pretty girls meant nothing to me. I worked in a club, and beautiful women were everywhere. So if some beautiful girl was, I really didn't matter. It was like I see them all the time. So I get that tap on the shoulder, and I turn around, and there's this little brunette. She's real cute, and she's about 5'1", if that. I don't remember if Lisa was even taller than that. She's probably like 4'9". She was short. And she says, "Hey." This is the type of person she is. She left the place where she was working then, and she started working at Hooters, and she was going to school. But anyway, she says, "You see that little girl, that little hot blonde over there? That little blonde hottie?" Something like that. And I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, she said you're the most beautiful man she's ever seen. She's going to marry you and have your babies." And I'm like, "That'd be a neat trick." And I turned around and I started dancing. I wasn't interested in getting married and having babies right then. So the next thing you know, I get tapped again. She pulls Angela over to me. She grabs my hand, grabs her hand, put our hands together, and we were never apart. Little Lisa, she's no longer with us, and her son's no longer with us, and that's another story. But
one of my best friends.
Yeah, she was a wonderful person. Pills got her son, and she was involved in an accident. So Angela and I were just that all-American young couple. You know, I was a surf rat. We were, you know, beach bums. We pretty much lived on the beach. And we loved each other. And there was a lot of passion, but we were very young.
Young love.
We got an apartment together, got engaged. I was in school, and on August 19th, 1989, we got married. I was very focused, and I wanted to have that. You know, I was raised without a dad. My mom was 15 when she had me, so of course, you know, my dad was too young.
How were you? How did you propose? I know you're in the zone in storytelling mode, but how did you propose? How did you propose to my mom?
I dropped to one knee on the beach and proposed to her. We went out dancing, and then we walked down onto the beach at 7:01, and I proposed to her. So August 19th, 1989, we were married. And I grew up without a dad, and I was raised by two very strong women. My mom was 15 when she had me. So my grandmother played a huge role in my life. My grandmother you've probably heard me talk about it before. She owned an assisted living facility where she taught me how to take care of people, and care for them as they're taking their last breaths, keep their mouths moist. And later I found myself in life keeping her mouth moist as she took her last breath. And I was telling her and thanking her for doing that for me, to teach, to give me the wherewithal to be able to sit next to her and do that. And, those are the types of things that the two strong women in my life instilled in me. And I didn't have a man in my life. My grandfather for a short time, but he passed away when I was 11 years old. Very hard man, but firm, but loving. But after that, I was pretty much on my own. So anyway, we'll fast forward back again to August 19th, 1989. We were married. Everything was great. I was still in school. We had an apartment at the time. I was working my butt off. I was working 3 jobs. I was delivering newspapers at night. It was one of my jobs.
I helped you do some of that shit.
Yeah, that was when you were 2. But so anyway,
you did it when, like, what age?
Yeah, I did it again because I needed to pay for some more schooling. So anyway,
you were chucking them from a bike or from a car?
No, car.
From a car.
Yeah. I was thrown out the window.
Yeah. So, we weren't born with silver spoons in our mouths, but we lived okay. We lived beyond our means.
Endured.
And, but, we made it. I bought a house when I was 22 years old, and I wanted that white picket house with my kids, and that's the vision that I had. I was done partying. I worked at 701. I never really drank. I've never smoked anything, no drugs ever in my life. Neither had Angela. She drank a little bit. We drank a little bit when we were younger, but just didn't. I don't hold anything against people that drink, but I just don't drink. I don't like the taste of it. I just don't like the way it makes me feel. So I don't do it. Good things to me, good things don't come out of alcohol. I've just experienced a lot of negativity when it comes to alcohol. So I've nixed it from my life. And we'll talk about that a little bit more too. So we were married again, August 19th, 1989. And things were moving fast. I mean, really fast. Angela was having these panic attacks all the time. It was crazy. I would like have to grab a hold of her and hold her and stop her from screaming and crying and just it was crazy. So I take her to the doctor, and I'll never forget his name. It's Dr. Levin right here in Port Orange. So we take her to the doctor, and it wasn't because of anything else other than she's begging for help. She can't stop. Her heart is palpitating all the time. She says she feels like she's got this impending doom. This is something that she could be totally like I am right now, and you could walk out of the room and come back and it's Jekyll and Hyde. And I'm like in tears. I'm like, I said, please help us. I said, yesterday I had to wrap my arms around her and tell her that I loved her and that everything was going to be okay. She couldn't breathe. She hyperventilated. Her heart rate had to be through the roof. I could see her carotid artery just pounding, and nothing was going on. Everything was fine. We weren't having fun crazy. I mean, we were young. I mean, we were struggling, but we weren't poor. The bills were getting paid, and if I needed money, my mom or my grandmother would help me if I needed it, and they did many times to get me through those bad times. And he looked at us. He looked at her, kind of looked her up and down. He looked at me and he said, "You're pregnant." Pointed at her and said, "You're pregnant." And I was like, I looked at Angela and she looked at me. And she goes, "I don't think so, but maybe." So I said, "Let's do some tests and we'll know pretty quick." So we sit in there and he's doing he does, they do a urine test. And while he's in there talking, they come back in and he says, "Told you, you're pregnant." And we're like, okay, so that's it. Okay. It's hormones, right? It's got to be hormones. But he didn't take into consideration that this had been happening. This wasn't like a new revelation. We'd been together almost 2 years at that point. And I mean, there'd been crazy instances where, I mean, she could pick me up. I mean, back then I'm 225 pounds now, but back then I was pretty jacked up. I was working. I mean, had traps up to here, but I was 200 pounds and she could pick me up and throw me.
She grew up with two brothers.
Yeah. Yeah. But she could pick me up and throw me across the room. And I would have times where, I'll tell a quick story. It's kind of a funny story, but it's kind of not. So, those vanilla puddings that you can buy in the grocery store that have vanilla wafers in them, banana pudding with vanilla wafers. I used to love those, Jeff. I used to love them. She did too. So we would buy those, and those were our snacks. And I'm sitting on the couch like this, watching the football game. And she's on the phone with her mom standing in the kitchen. And she's looking across the counter at me. And I'm eating this. I'm like watching the game. I'm into the game. Typical man. I'm into the football game. Anything else is kind of like, I'm not hearing it. So I hear her say, "Hey, honey, yeah, save me some of that." Okay. I'm mowing. Next thing you know, I'm licking the bowl. She comes over and she steps in front of me and she sees I'm licking the bowl. I mean, 100% selfish act.
You're in trouble.
I own that. I own it. But I looked up at her and she says, I asked you to save me some of that. And I went, sorry. Like that. Let's just put it this way. I got a haymaker from down here. I was seeing stars and I'm balled up in a little ball and she's just unloading on me. I'm like, finally, I'm like, did this just happen? Are you done? I'm that guy that's balled up. And she snaps out of it. And she's like, oh my God. She starts shaking. She's just shaking. I'm so sorry. I don't even know what happened. I've got a busted lip. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, it's okay. And she's going crazy. She's like, she feels so bad. This is what this disease did to her when it caused her to dump massive amounts of adrenaline into her system. So I didn't know what to do. I stood up. She grabbed me. We held each other. She cried. She shook. She apologized profusely. Just didn't know what was going on. And this is what led to us going to see the doctor. That's when he said, you're pregnant. So, you know, around that time, but this had happened before that. These are the types of incidents that were going on that led me to go there. It wasn't that particular one because that one happened earlier, months earlier. But this was a pattern that was starting to happen. So anyway, she's pregnant. That's it. That's the problem. Totally not thinking about anything else. We figured it out. So the pregnancy was for all intents and purposes normal. Tyler was born. There were a few incidences. I mean, she's a young mom. We're both young. A lot of pressure on her. I'm working 3 jobs, and she's got a baby. She's breastfeeding. Everything is going well. And my second son is the prime example of never let anyone tell you that you can't get pregnant while you're breastfeeding. Because 14 months later, here came Alex. And that's what we believed, because someone told us that, and we're ignorant. We don't know any better. We're just 2 passionate young people madly in love with each other, and we can't stay off of each other. But 14 months later, Alex came. So Tyler and Alex are 14 months apart.
That's my brother.
Yes. So anyway, we'll fast forward some years. You know, there was, you know, little things like that kept happening, and I would just kind of, you know, I would either go to another room and then come back, and she would be totally fine, and again she would be, I don't know, you know, my heart feels like it's pounding through my chest. I've got a headache. And she would get these pustules in her throat all the time. And it wasn't streptococcus. Been to the doctors. They didn't know what it was. She's allergic to something. Had allergic tests, never found out what it was. But there's videos that I'm going to post where another lady talks about this disease. She has the same exact symptoms. It's scary to listen to her talk. It's unbelievable, because she is exactly like Angela. Things just seemed to get progressively worse. She kept having headaches. And they just said, well, you get migraines. You know, some people get migraines. They tried to put her on Paxil, Xanax. And if you knew Angela, she had a really bad gag reflex. She couldn't even swallow a baby aspirin. So to give her these horse pills was crazy. She couldn't swallow them. Couldn't even crush them up. Couldn't do any. I mean, she just could not. It was a mental thing with her. She could not take medicine. It's been like that her whole life. So this went on and went on, and then one night, really bad episode. She was suicidal, and my son doesn't even know about this. But one night we were at an old shopping center that we used to go to all the time, and it had a seawall in the back. And we were getting groceries, and starts having a panic attack, and she says, I don't want to live anymore. I can't take this. I don't want to live anymore. She jumped out of the car, and she ran, and she jumped off of the seawall into the Halifax River, 12 feet down. I had to fish her out. And barnacles oysters. I had to run down, scale down the wall, jump down. You know, fortunately she had her shoes on, but we still got cut up pretty bad. Had to walk down the seawall about 200 yards to the backyard of somebody's dock and climb up on the dock and get back to the car. Some time after that, she was had another panic attack, and I was like, you know, we've got to do something. I'm not going back to those freaking idiots. I'm not going back. They don't tell me anything. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time.
She knew it before we did.
So one night she grabs a gun. She goes into the bathroom, locks the door, and I'm freaking out, pounding on the door. I'm like, Ange, if you don't open this door, it's coming down. Boom! She blows the back of the toilet seat, the back of the toilet tank off. Round goes through the wall into the spare bedroom. It wasn't the kids' room. And thank God.
The back of that toilet seat went into your room. Right.
No, it went into the other bedroom.
Okay.
Spare bedroom. And thank God no one was in there. The boys were asleep. So she opens the door and she drops the gun. It was a .357. She drops the gun and she's just shaking. Please, 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 begging me. I'm like, honey, it's okay. It's okay. Grab a hold of her, water's shooting up the walls, up to the ceiling. I don't even care about that. I care about my wife. The next day, we had a rough night trying to get her to sleep. She finally gets to sleep. I call a buddy of mine and his wife, and they're like, you got to take her to the hospital right now. She doesn't want to go. So I'm like, and you got to go to the hospital. Because we have what's called a Baker Act here in Florida. I no way would want to Baker Act her, and that's the Mental Health Act. That's when somebody's like in danger to hurt themselves or others. And that wasn't applicable. I wasn't going to make that happen, but I was going to make sure that we did something. So take her to the hospital. Same old, same all. You need to see a psychologist or psychiatrist. They gave us a referral. We go see a psychiatrist. He puts her on Paxil and he puts her on Xanax and some other, I don't even remember what it was. She couldn't take that stuff. Tried to put her on.
She didn't believe in it.
Her heart rate was fine until she had these episodes, and it would go up to like 170. So they thought, well, maybe she's got AFib. So they do a stress test. They do all this stuff. Nothing. Everything's normal. And I'm like, we go to another doctor, tell him the story. He says the same thing. She's bipolar. She's manic depressive. We need to address this with medications. So long story short, I'm just going to fast forward, and because this story is much longer than the time that we have allotted here. But it wound up costing me my marriage. I filed for divorce. I didn't know what to do. It was a volatile situation, and I had 2 little boys. I didn't know what to do. Biggest mistake and regret of my life. You heard me talk days ago, a week ago, about my life being in hindsight. Here's part of the hindsight. Because I was in fight or flight mode. I didn't know what else to do. I tried everything. I had to get out of this craziness for my boys. She was an awesome mother. Don't let any of this taint that. She was an awesome mother. I don't want anyone to think anything bad about Angela. She was a wonderful, loving, nurturing mother and wife. She just had something wrong. So I filed for divorce, and divorces are ugly. You know, we had a custody issue, and
you helped fix that. You helped fix that custody issue though, because
I did help fix that custody issue because
you were a player in the game. Because men don't get the custody of their children, or at least get what they feel, valued.
But in this case, I was heading in that direction where I was going to get custody of the kids, but I didn't want that. I didn't want a divorce. I wanted my wife to snap out of it, but it was beyond her control. But I didn't know that. And this is where it's going to get really emotional. So my son just chimed in. That's Tyler. It's my oldest boy. And it was taking such a toll on him and his brother. She lost it on them one time over this sickness. She threw a peanut butter jar and hit my other son in the head with it. There was all kinds of, and she did the same thing. She would black out. So because of what I saw that it was doing to my oldest son and how it was tearing him apart to see his mother in so much pain because I had custody at the time, I looked at her. We had a conversation. She started seeing somebody else. And this went on for a couple of years, and started seeing somebody else. And I really liked him. He's a great guy. And I said, if you stay with Brian, I'll drop this whole thing and we can share custody and co-parent.
Man, saved my life.
And she said, oh my God. She dropped to her knees and said, thank you. You had no idea. I said, let's just do this and we'll all be happy. I can't see my son. Alex was younger. He was going through it too. But Tyler has always been the one that's always tried to fix everybody. And he was emotionally a wreck. And I saw what it was doing to him. And it was going to be a long battle. And we came to an agreement and we fixed it. And we all got along for the rest of our life.
Sorry, you got me all emotional. So
here's where it gets really upsetting.
just for clarification, so it was because Brian was there, you felt the kids would be safer with visiting her? Okay. I went through the same thing with my son. I kind of guessed that because of what I went through with my wife being on crack and the guys that she was associated with. I was always with Lucas when we visited, but I don't know if that came across as clear to like the audience. I don't know how we.
Your wife was on crack?
Yeah, she was a crack.
I don't know your backstory, dude. I'm sorry. I didn't do it.
It's like I can relate to some of it, but instead of cancer causing your mom to do things that she didn't want to do, not be herself, that's what the crack was doing to my wife. So
yeah,
it's just it's got similarities.
I got you.
You know.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So she remarried. Angela remarried, and she had a little girl, and she's a wonderful little girl. She's
beautiful.
She looks exactly like her mom. In fact, when
and she's a better person than all of us,
right? And she's a wonderful Was she 19 now, Ty?
No, she's 22.
She's 22. Good Lord. It was so crazy that she was over my house for an event, and I had another relative that was freaking out because he thought Angela was there. She looks exactly like her. But anyway, she remarried. They had a wonderful life together. I can say that she was the love of my life. I don't know if I was the love of her life, but in hospice, she gave me a wink, and I'll get there in a minute too. So she remarried, and she calls me one day. I'm like, hey, what's up? This is what she says. She just got back from Indiana visiting her mom and her I think her grandma was still alive then. I don't remember. So she says, I said, hey, what's up? She says, well, I got good news and I got bad news. I said, are the kids okay? Everything okay? Oh, no, this is not about the kids. She says, well, we know why I'm so crazy. We know I've felt this way since I was a little girl. And I'm like, okay, why? I kind of chuckled. I'm like, so we know why you're crazy? We finally figured that out, I think is what it. So we finally figured that out. And I went from jovial to mortified. She says, I have cancer. I lost it. And I'm like, what do you mean? What kind of cancer? And she said, it's called a PHEOCHROMOCYTOMA. I'm like, never heard of it. I thought it was like anything with oma on it was like skin cancer. I didn't know. I was ignorant. I didn't know anything about cancer. So I said, well, what does that mean? I mean, is it terminal? She said, well, it's the size of a softball. And she said, what it is, basically, she said, in a nutshell, is it's a tumor the size of a softball that if you imagine an onion with its roots coming off of it, or a turnip with roots coming off of it, and all the roots are wrapped around my adrenal glands. And they've attached themselves, and they live off of my adrenal glands, basically. And what it does is it causes massive amounts spontaneously of adrenaline to dump into my bloodstream. And I'm like, okay, so what do we have to do? Well, they're flying me to, was it Maryland, Tyler?
It was, they flew her like flew her all over the Northeast.
She went to Texas, I think. She went to Maryland. She went to
Shands Hospital
Shands.
in Gainesville is the main one that did all.
Yeah, she spent a lot of time at Shands. I know that. But I know she went to, I think it was Texas, and I know she went to Maryland.
Yeah.
And then she went to Indy.
I don't know.
Wasn't
anyway,
Johns Hopkins, was it? In Maryland?
No, it wasn't Johns Hopkins.
Oh, yeah, it was Johns Hopkins.
May have been.
Yeah, it was Johns Hopkins. It was in Maryland. Yeah, it was Johns Hopkins. So,
but them.
So, but she spent most of her time. Gainesville is about 3.5, 4 hours away, and it's north of us, and that's where she spent a lot of her time.
It's northwest,
but she went in, and I don't know the medical term for it, but we're going to attach videos to this, and you guys there's going to be links. And I want, please, 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 I want everyone to know about PHEOCHROMOCYTOMA. I think, and I know that this form of cancer has been misdiagnosed forever. They've chalked it up. That's why I get so angry when I hear some man say that, oh, she's got PMS. Or, I hate that. I hate it. Just because a woman is emotional doesn't necessarily mean she has PMS. If it's something that's continually happening, it could be this. When Angela was diagnosed, she told me that there were only 4 people in all of the United States that had this, that they knew about. That they knew about.
20,000 a year.
Wow.
So now that they're diagnosing it, they're diagnosing 20,000 a year. But she, because of her, it's hard to talk about, but she gave herself the science. She allowed herself, because she knew she wouldn't tell anybody, but I know now she knew that her days were numbered. When she was diagnosed in Indianapolis, when she came home, her daughter played softball, and they had a mother-daughter softball game. And she was playing, and Angela and I played co-ed softball. She was a heck of an athlete. My son, Tyler, got a college baseball scholarship to play ball. And he didn't leave and go to another school further away, a D1 school, because he wanted to stay here by his mom. So he went to Embry-Riddle University, which is a very hard school to get into. It's just as hard to get into. Embry-Riddle Aeronautical. It's an engineering and aeronautical school.
Come on.
It's actually one of the largest schools in the world.
Yeah, it's got the best A's. Yeah.
She knew she was dying. She didn't know at this point, when she came back, how bad it was. But in the end, she knew. But so she's at this mother-daughter softball game, and she swings the bat. And I wasn't there, of course. I just heard stories. Her hip breaks. All she was doing was swinging a bat.
Yep. Brianna was
and her hip just shattered. So we're like, what's going on? Well, it was because of this cancer had metastasized. It had already been in her bone. Usually when they find this type of cancer, it's post-mortem. It's during an autopsy. And it's usually only about the size of a dime. Hers was the size of a softball.
Yeah.
And we found out later that she had been having these issues, and talking with her mom, she'd been having these same issues her whole life since she was 7 years old. They started talking about it. This thing started out, it's congenital. You're born with it. Probably started out the size of a pea. And over the years, it grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. and it encapsulated her adrenal glands.
And then she came down here and saw Pauly Shore and was chilling.
and
That's funny, right? Hey, don't.
That's funny. So she fought for about 5 years almost. And my son, both of my sons, and this is the hard part, because I couldn't help them. Alex, Tyler's brother, just wanted mom to get better.
Best I could. I did what
just
I could.
wanted mom to get better. I'm driving around with a car, and she wanted me to bring her a Mountain Dew. I'm like, "Do you need anything? Bring me a Mountain Dew." And he's like, "No, Dad." He gets mad.
Big Mac.
He's throwing stuff, pounding on the dash of my car. Don't give her that. We need to eliminate the acid in her body. We can't get her. So he himself buys all these shakes and all this stuff, and he wants to make her better. He's doing all this research.
I can't remember all the ladies' names, but we did go do a whole bunch of ladies' names, houses, names.
So Tyler was in denial. He's 100% in denial. Alex was having a fit one day, and his stepdad said, I'm not going to allow him back in here, John. He's upsetting his mom, and I'm not going to allow him back in the hospice. And I'm like, hey, that's not happening. I'll make him behave. He's not going to not see his mother. So I take Alex for a drive. You know how I described it to him? You know how I got him to finally get it? I said, wow. It's kind of like an engine, Alex. When you run an engine out of oil, you've heard the motor stories about motors seizing up. That's what's happened to your mom's body. She ran out of oil. Her organs are damaged. Her bones are brittle. It's in her brain. It's metastasized all over. She's seizing up like a motor.
I still don't believe that, but
would seize up. This is how I explained it to him, Ty. This was he and I in the car.
Okay, I get you.
Remember my jet ski that seized up? Well, that's how I explained it to him. So he got real quiet, and I said, look, if you go in there and you act out, they're not going to let you come in. So for your mom, you need to hold it together. She was in hospice. This is like the last week of her life. And I go in to see her.
Yeah, I was there.
I go in to see her, and no, you're not there.
I was there every damn day.
I know you were there every day, but you weren't there this day. You needed a break. So Tyler's break is, you look at his picture, you can see he's a major surfer and skimboarder. You can see that picture. That's during a winter swell, and he's killing it.
No, I was playing baseball.
No, I'm talking about this picture.
Oh, yeah.
And no, when I called you, you had been surfing all day.
That was my Chris.
You were at practice, and then you went surfing, and then you were going to come see mom. And I'm blowing your phone up, and you come in from a session, and you're like, "What's up?" And I said, "Look, mom's not going to make it through the night." And you said, "Dad, they just switched her medication. This happens all the time. She's just got a new medication. She's going to be fine."
I knew she was dying. You think I didn't know she was dying?
I know. This is why we're having this conversation.
Like,
so he's like, no, she's not, Dad. And I said, yeah, son, you need to get here. She's not going to make it through the night. So he gets there, and she passed away, 2:00 in the morning? I don't remember.
You want to know the crazy part about the story?
Go ahead. Well, let me introduce you. This is my son, but he's he's a great person. Got a huge heart. Never given me a lick of problems until the past few years. This is why I want to talk about this, because Tyler's never got over his mom's death.
Nope.
And I want him to be able to get it off his chest.
I don't think you ever do.
You never do. You never do. But Tyler's resorted to alcohol to deal with it.
Yep.
My son's an alcoholic. My son's got 3 degrees from Embry-Riddle University.
Aeronautical.
Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University.
ERAU.
ERAU. He's got 3 degrees. Do you know how hard that was to achieve?
Do you know how hard it was to achieve?
Baseball scholarship. Ironically, they went to.
Do you know how hard it was to achieve?
Baseball scholarship, and ironically, they went to the World Series every year. And guess where it was? Lewiston, Idaho, where we're talking about Kohlberger case. But he spent a lot of time in Lewiston, Idaho. Tyler can tell you all about those rivers. So another reason why I wanted to do this was for him.
So what?
Because he just got back from Hawaii. He took it upon himself to try and go to rehab in Hawaii. Wish I could do that, but he did it. And he came back from were you there, a month, 2 months? How long were you there?
Wahoo, 90 days.
Yeah. So he completed the program. I'm a tough love type of parent. And I was tough on him. I was tough on him. I'm almost there, bud. So he did his rehab, came back, and didn't work.
No,
so I'm trying to get him.
I was fucked up before then. So what are we talking about now?
You weren't fucked up before your mom's death.
That out, Jeff. I'm not allowed to say the F word.
That's okay. You can.
You weren't messed up before your mom's death?
That was the first program?
No, this was 5-6 months ago.
No, this is his only program that I know of that he's been in. This is your only program, correct?
Yeah, they call everybody auntie and uncle. UNKO, not uncle, uncle.
Uncle. Oh, because you're in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't call nobody other. Every elder that you see is auntie or unto or uncle.
So Tyler took it upon himself to finally go into a program. He told us all that he was moving to Hawaii, and he's been to Hawaii before, and he loved it. And he's a water guy. He's like me. He loves the water. And he went there one time. He's like, I'm coming back. So I'm like, go for it. If you're going to be happy in Hawaii and you can get rid of these demons in Hawaii, then more power to you. I want you to be happy. But he wasn't telling me he was going to Hawaii to go into a program. So apparently in Hawaii, it's free. So anyway, he went to the program, sounded great. He was texting me just about every day, showing me videos of him riding a bike with some other guy where they worked at a restaurant, showing me some beautiful things that he was doing. And then he's done with the program and he wants to come home. I didn't want him to come home. I wanted him to stay there.
Yeah, but I miss
But
you.
it's hard. But it's hard. He missed us. We're the only family he's got.
Yeah.
But I knew that it would be hard for him coming back. And he needed to try and build a life there. And then I would gladly come see him in Hawaii. But he wanted to come home.
Where, Maui?
I don't care. Anywhere in Hawaii. I don't know. I've never been there.
Have you not been watching the news?
I'd be, what do they call you, a hoolie?
It's a howley. Have you not been watching the news?
Yeah, no. I've been watching the news.
Right.
I prayed for those people. So anyway,
I don't mean to laugh at any of those people. Like you know that I love all.
He came back and fell right back into the same rut he's in now. And I want to do this for him to create, some kind of a window for him to talk to me and know that I love him more than anything in the world. And I want to help him. But he's got to help himself.
Phone works.
I can't do it for you, bud. I can't do it for you.
Phone works.
I've got too much on my plate as it is. I've got your brother and sister that I have to deal with, and
I've got your mom and your brother here. So
he's living with my mom. My mom's got leukemia. She's a train wreck because of the medication she's on.
A train wreck. Don't be.
She's a train wreck, and she'll tell you. She tells me she's a train wreck.
Yeah,
because she can't help. Because she can't help you either. My mom is an enabler. I love her more than anything in the world, but she enables.
I wish me mom was still alive. Shit. I have a business.
Who's gonna go work? Who's gonna go do anything when you have a house that beautiful, $600,000 house that you can lay up in and not go to work? Who's gonna go to work? I want my son.
I don't want to do that. You can.
I know you don't, son.
You can have it. Like, I'll go live on a fucking island in the middle of the water. I don't give a shit.
And he would. He actually lived in his Ford Explorer with a hammock in it. He doesn't care. That's what I want to stop. He doesn't care about anything anymore.
No, you're not going to stop none of that. We've got.
I need you. Your mom would not want you to be this way.
No.
You know what your mom, and I've told you this, you know what your mom said to me?
What?
Please make sure Alex is okay. Because you know why? She didn't worry about you.
She was the only, exactly. I know.
You didn't have to worry about Tyler.
The only one that
Tyler was
the
perfect kid. You've all seen Tanner. That was Tyler.
You know what?
Exactly the same way.
Brain dead. I'm out. Like, I'm done. I don't have any more fucking energy, dude.
And when you say it's directly connected with your mom?
No.
Is it other things too?
I mean, there are connections there with my mom, but no. It's just that I've been doing everything for my family my entire life, and now I'm just.
What he means by that?
I'm drained.
I pushed him. I pushed him really hard in ball.
It has nothing to do with you, Dad. It's all victim of circumstance.
Tyler's a pleaser. He's always wanting to please everybody. He could have been going surfing, but I had him at ball fields. He and I would get up in the morning and I'd drill balls at him for hours. He was like, I'd set up cones and fence posts, and he would have to, get in a defensive position and pick balls out, pick at left, pick at right. And I'm drilling balls at him, and he was an unbelievable shortstop. He should be playing pro ball somewhere.
It's not the point.
But he was so burned out in the end He was going to go to Canada and play, and I don't know what happened. He was taking Adderall in high school.
No, not in high school. Wrong.
Mom got you a prescription for Adderall. Yes, she did.
Not in high school. No, sir. It was.
When was it?
College.
Well, it was just in college. It was like when you first started.
Okay. Get your facts.
And then he got addicted to Adderall. And Adderall is a horrible drug, everyone. It's horrible.
Dude, I was prescribed it and I was doing it. So I was like, okay, this is what college kids do. Like, wait.
He called me one day.
Do not.
And he's like, Dad, you have no idea. You don't know shit. I'm looking at the trees right now and I can see every color in the spectrum.
No, that's when I was
everything. You have no idea.
That's when I was one. I didn't call you. One, you're the last person I would call, but I was tripping on shrooms.
Okay, he was on shrooms. I'm sorry. He was on shrooms and Adderall.
Sorry, Jeff. Edit all this.
I called him. Maybe I called him. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
So I probably called him, and he's like. Yeah. Telling me about every color, and I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you, son? I had no clue. My son's at a major university. You know, he's got 3 and 4 day practices for college baseball.
To do what?
Carrying a curriculum. He's kicking ass as far as I know.
To do what?
And he tells me this stuff, and then I get a, what do you mean to do what?
To do what?
I don't know. I thought you were going to college to have a career. And
I wasn't going to college. I was going to college to make sure my family was okay and keep everybody happy. That's why I went to college.
This is what I'm saying. He was trying to keep everyone else happy. He didn't want to go to college, apparently. I'm just not hearing this.
Yeah.
That's not what he wanted to do.
Nope.
He did it for us. He did it for me.
I did it for you. I did it for Mom. I did it for Nene. I did it for fucking everybody. I did.
But you didn't go to college for yourself?
No. I don't give a shit. I'll wipe my ass with that degree. I don't care.
I mean, Tyler, like right now, how do you feel you're doing with everything? Where are you?
With what?
With like, with life in general, the where things are, what direction you're headed and everything. How do you feel you're doing?
Well, my restaurant's about to open up, but I don't know.
You got a restaurant?
I don't own one. No, that'd be nice. But
we had a restaurant here that was destroyed by the hurricanes last year.
3 of them.
He's a bartender,
server, whatever,
and he's good. He's good at it. He's run restaurants, but his problem is he can't be in that environment because he's got a drinking problem. So
right. I used to have a friend that said, if you don't want a haircut, don't go anywhere near a barbershop.
Right. Yeah, right.
Well, then buy me a boat.
Buy you a boat for what? We got you a boat.
So I can live.
What are you going to do on a boat?
Like a houseboat?
Yeah, houseboat. And I'll take care of my family and my friends.
On a houseboat?
Yeah.
What are you going to do on a houseboat that's going to take care of me? I have 2 boats.
You're a grown man.
Well, you are too, son. You're 33 years old.
That's what I'm saying. You've already established your firmament, though. You want to start talking about like religion and how all the book works. You've already established your stance. I don't have kids. The only thing that matters is for me to have a place for my siblings to live.
All right.
Bottom
So
line.
we're gonna get off of you and the alcoholism. Okay.
All right.
We're gonna go into
Because that
the
bothers me.
PHEOCHROMOCYTOMA. So now that we know a little bit about what Angela went through with this disease, I want my son, who's more versed than I am on it. He lived it. He was with his mother when and he'll tell the stories. She kind of made a funny joke about it, but he's going to talk about pheochromocytoma and the fact that now, because of her, because she gave herself to medicine, there are now tests. There's a urine test and there's a blood test, because she was part of the studies. She's in journals, and it's congenital, and it could be passed down to your children. So all the children were tested. They're all okay. Thank God they don't have the gene. But we're going to attach some links to this. So I hope everyone will take the time to watch some of these links and do your own research. If you know someone that's going through these struggles and it just doesn't seem right, it's probably because it isn't. It's probably because it's been misdiagnosed, because doctors don't really know about this. But I'm going to let Tyler talk about it a little bit. This is my oldest boy. He's 33 years old, and this has had a devastating effect on him. And I'm hoping that one day, it's been almost 11 years now, that he can come to terms with it and move on. Because I know for a fact that his mother wouldn't want to see him the way he is right now. She would not want it. But Tyler, the floor is yours. So if you want to talk about pheochromocytoma, please do. Love you.
I love you too. It's been more than 11 years, but whatever. So what do you want to talk
Has it been more than time flies? Has it been more than 11 years?
Yes.
Man.
I was 21. I'm 33 now. Do the math.
Yeah. So yeah, it has been more than 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting old, everyone. King Cobra, I didn't take it this week.
And again, people think that you just get over this shit or stuff. You don't. You never do.
But death is part of life, Tyler. Death is part of life.
You think I don't know that? What are you telling me?
I know, but we have to, at some point,
What are you talking
figure this out.
Stop.
But go ahead. The floor is yours. I'm going to let you talk.
Jeff, you got any questions for me, brother?
Maybe I'm wondering, Tyler, when was like your first memory of seeing, like, any sign that your mom had, something that was going on?
I never really did. She was always a gangster. You know what I mean? And I say that obnoxiously, obviously, but she
was tough, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
She was always tough. She grew up with brothers.
She handled her business. So
most of your memories then are probably are good ones, where she was. You don't have a ton of memories of like the bad stuff that she was going through.
No, she beat the shit out of us, and she beat the shit out of my dad.
Trying to put awareness out there so that people can hear from others who've experienced this.
She had pheochromocytoma. She had a softball-sized tumor attached to her goddamn. I'm half crying while doing this, so you gotta.
That's all right. That's all right.
It's all right, bud. I mean, that's all I'm asking. If I've said enough about it, and you don't feel like you need to say any more about it, that's fine with me.
No, she was diagnosed in Indianapolis because she had a panic attack before she could get on the plane with her mother, my grandma Pam, who's now also dead. And they took her and did the basic panels, whatever the fuck you want to call them.
Yeah.
And which would be a PIS scan, CT scan, MRI, anything would have detected. And then it was detected up there. So this has been a very tough conversation for me, guys. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, I can understand. Like I said, I mean, I have similarities and things I've gone through. I can only imagine. It's not the same things, but you know, everybody's got something. Well, maybe not everybody, but I mean, I definitely have things I can relate to some of what you guys went through.
Yeah, I'd rather have you talk more than my dad.
What is maybe John? Is it possible that maybe when she had episodes that maybe you kind of protected the kids didn't have to see, so maybe they didn't
oh no, they hardly ever saw any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean it would most of the time it would be at night because I would be getting ready to go to work, and it would be, it was whatever my shift was. So most of the time, a lot of the episodes were at night because when she had a job that was also at night, and I would be getting ready for work while she would come in at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So sometimes she would have episodes.
She had a tumor attached to her adrenal gland. What do you want?
Right. I mean, she got into a car accident one time. I had to go get her because she had a panic attack and couldn't see. She said, I couldn't see the road. My eyes were I couldn't see in front of me 5 feet because she would get, migraines.
Flood of adrenaline
right,
in the system, and
she would get these pustule pockets on her adrenals.
You already said this, Dad.
Yeah, well, listening to one of these latest videos and hearing the girl talk was just like amazing. But anyway, is there something you want to share about your mom that maybe just something special? I mean, things you put out on YouTube sometimes can be out on the YouTube forever, and there might be something special that
I don't put anything on YouTube, man.
Yeah,
but she was dope. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah,
my mom was rad.
Well, it sounds like it. I mean, when you lose someone and you don't really have, you can move on and forget about it, that means that they weren't that special. So clearly she was very special. And when I lost an uncle, took his own life when I was in high school, and he was the one who had just started to teach me to play guitar.
Jeff,
I can think about him every day,
I want your number.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll give it to you. We'll talk, definitely. Would love to keep in touch with you, Tyler. You're as cool as your dad, and you seem to be. So
I'm way cooler than my dad.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, man, when you lose someone that close, I mean, it's a little different. The losses that I've had have been like by choice. My uncle's last, I was just saying it earlier to somebody. I mean, it was heroin won that last hand, and took him. But it's and it's different too, because with me, it's like I saw what he did, I felt the loss, and I made damn sure I'm not going down that same path that he went down. And it's different though with cancer. It's not like you go out looking for it. You didn't buy some cancer behind in a back alley. So the drug stuff is is different. But I tell you what, I mean, I was the soberest kid in high school.
Me too.
Losing my uncle like that, and and I was always playing guitar.
It's funny. You just heard Tanner say "me too," and had you told me, I would have never, ever, ever believed in a bazillion years that my son would be an alcoholic.
You feel you are, Tyler?
Why does it go right back to that?
I'm sure that clearly it's on your dad's mind.
You just said "me too" when he was talking.
He was talking about playing the guitar and how.
No, he was talking about.
No, I think he meant me too, and he was the cleanest kid in high school, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, you're clean. You didn't do drugs. You didn't. He never did anything that I know of. He was the perfect.
Never did.
Perfect kid.
Never did.
So if you would have told me that my son would have a drinking problem, I would never believe it.
Well, I think it's one of those things. It's like, we each choose the path we put our foot on and head down.
I know what I'm doing. I'm not stupid. I know.
Yeah, nobody thinks you're stupid. I don't think you're stupid. You're smarter than me. I didn't even go to college. I took one English class
at a
community college.
But you can read, right?
Well, the
internet exists.
I can Google.
Exactly. That exists, right?
Right. But still, the discipline to do that, to complete that much college. I mean, I had a hard time just doing one class in a community college and it was English.
The only reason I did it was for baseball. Like, I played ball.
Yeah.
And I wasn't very good at it.
He's crazy. He was absolutely.
But we won.
He's a stud. He's amazing. You know what the best one of the best things I've ever done in my life was stepping between the lines with my son and playing on the field with my son.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling I've ever had in my life. I formed a really good softball team with a lot of his peers after they graduated. And we had a hell of a softball team, didn't we, Ty?
Yeah, we did.
And Ty was there when I went to pick a ball out and it took a bad hop and shattered my entire face. I can't feel my teeth from here back.
That was at Disney.
We were at the Planet World at Disney.
Welcome to Disney.
I'm like, you guys better win this freaking game. And I'm spitting blood. I've got a picture of it. It's hilarious. I got blood just both my orbitals are shattered.
At Disney. That's what cracks me up.
My septum's like 2 millimeters away from being pushed up into my brain. I can't ever feel my teeth from here over. All the nerves are dead from getting blasted by a 115 mile an hour ball that came off of a shaved bat. That's another story.
That's what a glove is for.
Yeah, right. Well, you know me.
With your face, John.
Yeah. It hit me so hard that it careened off and went down.
He was playing in a young man's league when he should have been,
Yeah, whatever. That was still a young man. I was in my early 40s. So, yeah. But anyway.
No, you weren't.
Anyway.
Jeff, any more questions for me, brother?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think about this rare form of cancer, and I like the logo that we were looking at for the thumbnail with the basically F cancer
that I can make in 30 seconds, whatever.
Yeah, you can make a logo in 30 seconds.
He's a graphics guy too.
Oh, sweet. What kind of graphic stuff do you do?
The entire Adobe Creative Suite. Illustrator, Photoshop, everything. I can do everything. I can make
Excellent.
Halloween look like Christmas.
We should definitely keep in touch because I do. I mean, I'm mainly Photoshop and Adobe Premiere. One of these days, I'm gonna,
I'm not in the video yet.
Yeah.
But I know how to do it. It's not really my thing. I'm more of a logo type guy.
He's a Mac guy like you, though, Jeff.
Oh, see, I knew there was something I like about him already.
Yeah, no, I have a setup downstairs. I can do whatever.
Yeah, that's cool. And do you do stuff for just for fun or for business, or what do you do with it?
No, fucking Instagram has stolen so many of my ideas.
Oh yeah,
and I'm just watching them run with it, and it cracks me up.
Yeah,
but nothing I can do.
Oh, what do they say? What's the word? It's the highest form of praise when somebody is copying your stuff. That's
it's flattery. To imitate someone, to pay the person genuine that makes no sense.
Wait, no, it might be that. It might be imitation.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. That's the phrase.
Acclaim, recognition, acknowledgement, kudos, acknowledgement, accolades, homage
is the highest form of
imitation
flattery.
Is the highest form of flattery.
That's what it is. Yep.
Yeah.
So if you want to really flatter somebody, you'll imitate
Charles
Caleb Colton.
I'm not gonna do this.
They named him like that just because they knew it would be a tongue twister for everybody.
So Ty, wrapping this up, is there anything you want to say about pheochromocytoma?
Donate if you can to whatever we've got set up. And it's been hard on my family, so yeah.
And I want to say, if you know someone who's experiencing the symptoms that you're going to see on some of these links, go to your primary care physician and ask for this test, because it could just be a pea-sized tumor growing on an adrenal gland that causes this. And Angela had a softball-sized one. And it started when she was a little girl. And if she'd have been diagnosed, I don't know how much earlier, but at some point throughout her young lifetime, if she'd have been diagnosed, she would still be with us. Because they don't normally find this until an autopsy, post-mortem. A lot of people, in fact, we have a president, didn't we, Jeff? Was it Eisenhower?
Right. Yeah.
President Eisenhower, I think, post-mortem, they found that he had a pheochromocytoma. Did you know that, Tyler?
No, I did not.
I got to look into it more. Actually, Jeff was, when we were talking about it, he looked it up, and he just looked up famous people.
I'd searched for pheochromocytoma famous people. That's what I put into Google, and it said
right. It
says probably the most famous case of an undiagnosed pheochromocytoma was in President Dwight D. Eisenhower, 34th president of the United States. Actually, it's ironic. Eisenhower was coming into the hospital. They were rolling him in as they were taking my mom out after having given birth to me. So we kind of.
Oh, wow. That is pretty. That's very ironic.
I don't know if it was the exact same door because he's a president. He probably has security. But she was leaving the hospital. He was just arriving. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy that we're sitting there talking about this, and you just told that story, Jeff.
Yeah, it kind of hit me. It's like when it just came back to, I just remembered that. Actually, I got to talk to my mom more about that and get the details, like what exactly she saw. Like
the pharmaceutical industry. You want to get into that?
Into what?
The pharmaceutical industry.
Oh,
Tyler,
talk about that?
Tyler's right, but he's pretty bitter with the pharmaceutical industry because he believes that his mom wasn't diagnosed because they just wanted to give her pills.
Oh,
And I believe that too.
Right.
And
because I worked in the pharmaceutical industry. I know how much money goes through the pharmaceutical industry. And there's a pill for everything, people. Pills that aren't needed.
so am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I can see that side.
Now, don't get me wrong. Somebody will take me out of context. Some pills are very much needed, but a lot of pills are not needed. So
I'm not crazy, I swear to God.
the reason why, no one thinks you're crazy, bud. The reason why I wanted to do this and have my son involved is twofold. I wanted to try to help him deal with the death of his mother and move on and know that she's in a good place and she's watching and she wants him to succeed and live a long, happy life and have a family. And I also wanted to bring attention to the disease itself. And it's PHEOCHROMOCYTOMA, and it's spelled PHEOCHROMOCYTOMA. And we're going to post some links on it. And I really want people to pay attention to this disease because I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that have it. And are just starting to diagnose people. I think it's at 20,000 a year now. But I still feel like older doctors don't really know about it. They're set in their ways. New doctors are learning about this disease. And I think your younger doctors are probably more apt to diagnose it than an older doctor. Nothing against older doctors. I just think continual education is needed for a lot of these doctors that are in private practice and they don't do it. But please take the time to look at the links. We're going to probably play a few and, but we're going to post some as well. So this is a long show and we want you to stay focused on what I'm trying to achieve here. So listen to what we said. Hopefully it'll help somebody and somebody will be diagnosed with this disease that would have probably never been diagnosed if it just happens once. That's all that matters. I love my son more than anything in this world, and I want him to know that we're doing this to try and honor his mother and what she did, the sacrifices that she made. Angela gave herself to science so that we could have a test now. All right, everyone. Really appreciate your time. And if anyone has any questions, you can email me at detectivejohn68@gmail.com. That's detectivejohn68@gmail.com. And I've said that, I'm not going to use this forum just for true crime. We're going to talk about other things. We're going to talk about crime-related stories. And we're going to talk about things like this. And
righting wrongs.
We're going to right wrongs, and we're going to help people. And that's what I'm all about. I'm not all about the drama that you saw in the first two shows. That was just something I had to do, and it's over. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. We're moving forward, and that person can do his thing, and I don't care what he does. I truly care about people. I care when people are hurt at the hands of others. I'm that guy. I'm a fighter. All right, we're gonna say goodbye. Thank you, Jeff, for helping.
Sure, thanks, John.
Just throw another voice in there and be the voice of reason at times, and so it's always good to have someone involved in a conversation that doesn't have any bias or anything negative that he can say or any opinions. Just open-minded, just listening to the conversation. I really appreciate it. Tyler appreciates it. But Tyler's going to have to make his decisions, and he's going to have to help himself. I've done everything that I can do. Try to push him in the right direction. Just hope he goes there. You're not fine, bud. I love you, but you're not fine.
Neither are you.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up, and we'll see you real soon. I've got a great show. Jeff and I have been working on. My mods have been working on. I've got a lot of positive. I've added a couple more people to the team that have brought a lot. I've got an FBI agent that's coming aboard, potentially a judge that's coming aboard. Still have to see if he wants to talk. He's kind of on the fence. And got a biological whiz that's spent her whole life in biology. Can talk about a lot of things that we need to talk about that I'm not qualified to talk about. So we got her on board. And of course, we've got Jeff. Jeff's my right-hand man and my partner in this, whatever you want to call it. We're shooting from the hip. We're having fun. And I think it's good that we do that. Nothing's scripted. We just go. We work on our content. We try to get everything together to present. But I'm not that guy that's going to have a bunch of notes sitting here and I'm going to read from my notes and make sure I hit my points. I've done that. It works better if I just wing it. And I think people appreciate that. We're going to have open panel. We're going to have some phone conversations. We've got some things to work out with technical issues, but we'll figure it out. Between Jeff and I, we'll figure it out. I promise you. Look forward to seeing you real soon. And God bless everyone. I'm glad you got to see me. Jeff, you have anything to say, buddy?
No, I love that. I love that expression, though. I have family members that will say that. Hey, yeah. Glad you got to see me.
Glad you got to see me. All right, Ty, love you, buddy.
I love you.
Call me later.
It's great meeting you, Tyler. We definitely got to keep in touch.
Hey,
and we want to. And Jeff.
Dad, give Jeff my number.
And I want to. All right, and I want Jeff to. Jeff's a man of faith. I'm a man of faith. But Jeff, I want you to kind of lead us in a prayer. And if you could just talk about Angela and pray for Tyler and the family.
Surely.
And I really would appreciate that.
It ain't gonna work, but go ahead.
We'll give it a try. Send it up the flagpole, see who salutes, right?
You never know, buddy. You never know.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this time that we were able to get together to do this in honor of Angela, and just going down memory lane with good times, the hard times, and the awful times. And Lord, we just ask that that you would just be close to anyone hurting, especially because of something like this. And Lord, that you would help them to find a pathway to get, really good help with something like this. Get it before it's softball sized, and Lord, just be with Tyler, be with Detective John, and be with me, Lord. And I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Dude, I just saw Chains getting stuff. I don't even know how to explain what I saw when you were just talking, but
you saw what?
Just Chains getting the rust crusted off of them.
Chains getting rust off of them?
Yeah, while you were
Chains getting the rust knocked off of them.
Huh.
I don't have my phone close. Sorry.
You saw that in
when I closed my eyes and I listened to him prayer.
Wow.
You saw chains and rust being knocked off of them.
Yes.
What do you think that's about?
Let's hope that that's you're the chain. Those links are you. And we
what do you, let's Tyler say, what does it mean to you, Tyler? You saw it. What do you think that means?
I don't really know, man. Like, you think, like, I really don't. I am the chain link, or no, I'm the rust, or.
You know, the first thing comes to my mind, I remember a long time ago, the church I went to, there was a video series that everybody was kind of watching in church, and we'd all discuss it. But it was called Setting the Captives Free. And I remember in the beginning of the opening video, it was showed like a chain of somebody in bondage and the link breaking, and breaking that bondage. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind anyway, when it comes to chains and chains being broken. And
yeah, I was just, while you were talking the whole time, I was just thinking about chain rust being like ripped off.
Wow.
Which is weird.
That would be something cool that you could graphically do too, Ty.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool? A sledgehammer or something hitting a chain, and the rust it's a clean chain.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's got to be something to that. Maybe that's God. Maybe God is trying to.
Well, that's exactly.
He knows. God knows how
closed right there. That was God.
God knows how visual you are and how creative you are. Maybe that's God trying to tell you, knock the rust off, Ty. Get rid of the rust.
That's a good point.
Let's move forward.
Buy a boat.
Let's start life. You know where I think
I like Jeff. He likes me. He likes me.
You know where I think
Tyler, you're all right, man. You remind me of a best friend of mine, Bill, very much. So,
well, Tyler, you know what Tyler needs? He needs to be Grizzly Adams, because that's where he needs to be.
Oh, out in the woods.
He needs to be like Grizzly.
Yeah.
He would be. I mean, you could put him like you watch these reality shows where these people are out there.
Live like a mother.
Killing a bar.
He'd give him a K-bar knife and he's good to go. Kill a bar.
You ain't got to worry about me. I'll be all right.
Survive.
All right, I love you, son.
All right, I love you both.
Good night.
Nice to meet you, Jeff, brother.
All right, nice to meet you, Tyler. Yeah, we'll talk.
Wasn't that that was pretty epic at the end? I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it was Angela sending Tyler a message. I don't know if it was God through Angela sending him a message that, let's knock that rust off, Ty. Let's get rid of those demons. Your mom's okay. It's been 12 years. It's time to make her proud. She was always proud of you. She still would be proud of you. I'm proud of you, but I'm disappointed at what's going on with you. And I only want the best for you. I don't know what else to do. I've tried everything. It's up to you, son. But, this wasn't just about alcoholism. It was about a terrible disease. And it's on the thumbnail. I would like for everyone to take the opportunity to look at the PHEO site. There's multiple ways you can donate. If you just want to donate to cancer, I'm sure it all goes to the same place. But they do have a specific .org for PHEOCHROMO. And research it yourself, everyone. You can pull it up right now, and there's multiple links. You can watch videos. If you are a person that's having these symptoms, or you know someone that's having these symptoms, you know, if just one person goes to a doctor and figures it out and gets diagnosed and gets the tumor removed in time, and we save somebody's life, oh my goodness, that would be something. But there's always someone out there that this will touch. Could be on the alcohol side, it could be on the pheo side, cancer. But I'm gonna open the lines up, and feel free to call. Please hit that like and subscribe so we can get the algorithm up. Um, you know, there's a couple trolls in here saying some pretty nasty things. And Janet, you weren't one of them. I accidentally clicked you. And if you're listening, I apologize. I'm going to try and figure out a way to get you back. I didn't mean, I was working on somebody else and I accidentally clicked you. My fault. But there were some pretty nasty people from that old show that I'm not going to mention. It just shows the lack of class that most of those people have. You know, I gotta laugh. It's just a thug mentality, and it's like Janet was saying, young people today. That's what she was saying, and I wasn't meaning to kick you out of this show, Janet. So if you're listening, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try and get you back. I got to figure out how. But Tanner's sitting here next to me, my other son, and he's gonna figure it out. So let's open up the phone lines. I'm going to do this for about probably a half an hour or so. Take some calls, maybe a little longer. And feel free to, you know, spill your guts. Say what you want to say. I know this is a true crime podcast, but not tonight. Tomorrow night. Tonight, we're dedicating the show to a good cause. So 386-287-1997. 386-287-1997. We're going to open it up. Good. Missy, thank you for your comments. I really appreciate it. You know, if you guys, again, if you know of anybody that's having these types of symptoms, please direct them to the, you know, the links, PHEOCHROMOCYTOMA, and have them just read up on it. And if they do have an older doctor, you know, like I said, nothing against older doctors. They just, you know, it's a relatively new form of cancer that has been around forever, just not diagnosed. And I think that now your schools are covering it now. You know, your pre-med and med, they're going over. One of our people in here said that was it you, Missy? They were in med school and they talked about it and said it's very rare. But it's only rare because it's hardly ever found. And it's like I said, most of a doctor told me that most of the cases were found post-mortem. That means after death. And you know, it's just such a weird form of cancer. It attaches itself. Your adrenal glands are by your kidneys, and it attaches itself right there, and it feeds off of them, and it causes adrenaline to, you know, just spontaneously dump into your bloodstream. So if you've ever had that adrenaline rush, you know, when you hear of people or cars fall on them, or, you know, and they run over and they can lift the whole car up, you know, by themselves. You know, I've had major adrenaline pumps throughout my life, you know, just tragic things that have happened. Somebody I saw got hurt. You know, I was a cop for a long time, so I know what that's like. But you come down Angela couldn't come down. Hers was a continual panic attack, and it would finally subside, but sometimes they went on for 24 hours. She would go, you know, a day without sleeping at all, 24 hours straight, just heart palpitations, just feeling. She said it, and it's like the redheaded girl that was on the beginning of the show. She talks about, if you go back and you look at that entire video, if you want to hear Angie talk, that is her. She is saying the exact things that Angela would say to me about how she felt. I couldn't even watch the whole thing because I got so upset, because it was just so real to me. Yeah, Bell Moon, ask your daughter about it. See if they've covered it. I'm sure they have, because one of the other subscribers said that she's covered it, and that the doctors actually said that it's very, very rare form. I had one during PTSD episode where I put my whole fist through the bedroom door for no other reason than finding out the guy that shot me at 25 years. Yeah, I feel your pain there. Truth exposed. Yeah, we're gonna have some people tell us those stories. It's gonna be a pretty cool show. We're getting more mods. I've got a couple other good mods that are going to be coming aboard. I've got a biologist that's got a lot of experience. She's actually a teacher. She taught at the college level. That's going to be able to talk about some DNA things. I've got a retired FBI agent that I've worked many cases with that is going to be a part of the show. I'm working on a retired judge, if I can convince him to do it. He's on the fence right now. Judges don't like to be exposed, so we're trying to figure that out. If I can get old Sam on here, I'd love to have him. He's one of the guys that you have certain judges that you go get your warrant signed, and he started out as an attorney and worked many cases that I had, and he became a judge, and he retired. Play ball with him. He's a good guy. But if we don't have any calls, if no one wants to call in, make sure that the phone line wasn't open, so let's open it up. My bad. So if anybody wants to call in, it's 386-287-1997. That's 386-287-1997. I'm going to leave it open for a couple more minutes. We're going to talk. If no one calls in, and we're going to call it a night. I know this isn't the type of show that some of you expect, but I just, I feel compelled to do something. I promised my boys I would do something one day. I promised Angela I would do something. I pounded my fist down. I'm going to make sure people know what you did. She basically, in a nutshell, Angela said, take me and use me for a guinea pig. Figure this out. And they flew her to multiple places. And now, because of Angela, she's been in medical journals, and she is the result of her doing that is there's tests now. There's a genetic test because it's congenital and it can be passed down to your children. Chances are she was born with it. They can't say that for sure, but they believe she was. Missy said, was Angela's tumor too big to resect? No, they resected it, but it had just metastasized. It got into her bone, went to her brain, and she battled for almost 5 years. But it was a horrible death. And she was funny till the end, though. I mean, Tyler forgot to tell the story, is going to tell the story, and yeah, I'm not going to say it. Never mind. She was in bed, and she just said something really funny one day. I'll let him, if he ever comes back on, tell the story. And Jeff said, if this live stream only helps 1 or 2, maybe 3 people, it was well worth it. The whole experience touched me greatly. So at least one person helped by this. Jeff, you know what? It was so cool to have. That's why I wanted to bring you on, because, you know, Tyler and I we butt heads over his alcoholism. I try to have empathy and sympathy and all that good stuff. But we're going into many years now that this has been going on. He's got a $500,000 education, and he's not using it. And I don't know why he's doing what he's doing. He can't blame his mom's death on his situation forever. Angela would roll over in a grave if she knew what was going on. She does know, because I think she just touched him tonight with the chain comment. He closed his eyes during that prayer and he said, I'm seeing chains. I'm seeing rusty chains. That was incredible to me. I don't know what happened there, but it was a moment. I know it touched Jeff, because I talked to Jeff afterwards, and he's like, you know, I haven't been praying as much as I should be, but I don't know. I don't know if it was Angela touching him, or, you know, Angela and God both touching him. I don't know, but something happened there. And trust me when I tell you, everyone, I've done everything that I could possibly do to help him. I've bought him 2 cars. I've got him jobs. I gave him a place to live here. And he's not a nice drunk, if that tells you anything. So, Tyler, if you're listening, I love you, son. And thank you for being a part of spreading the word for this terrible disease that your mom had. And I don't want anyone to think after this show, because we told some stories about what this did to Angela and some of the things that she was unable to control. I'm not at all saying that Angela was this crazy, mad, violent freak. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Angela would be like I am right now. I would walk out, come back in, and she would be like Jekyll and Hyde, because for whatever reason, at that moment, I don't know if the tumor would pulsate or what it would do, but she would have adrenaline dumps, and I could literally see her carotid. I could see it through her neck. I knew what was going on, because it was like just pounding. She would get immediate headaches, and pretty much would be out of control. There's nothing you could do for her except grab a hold of her and hold her. And 9 years. 9 years. And, you know, she remarried, and Brian had to endure a lot himself. And God bless him, because he was awesome. You know, he's stayed with her till the end, and devastated him as well. But he's a very private person, so I want to wrap it up. Tanner's been here with me, and I want to thank everyone for coming on. Feel free to go into chat and leave some comments. And again, I really appreciate everyone. We got a great show for you guys tomorrow night. It's going to be covering some of the stuff that's going on with the case with the Idaho Court mess, because that's what it is. It's a mess. And Ann Taylor's creating a mess. She's creating a mess for the families. She's creating a mess for the system. She's making a mockery out of the system. It's disgusting what she's doing. But you know what? She's got to do it. So, like you always hear me say, don't hate the player, hate the game. And she's real good at playing the game. But tomorrow we're going to call her out on some stuff. And I think I'm going to make her look pretty stupid, or we're going to make her look pretty stupid. And everyone's going to see the arrogance in her and the waste of time and resources. She's got to do it, though. Like I said, she's got to do it. But I don't like it. In fact, I can't stand it. I don't really care for her too much. I think she's unethical in some of the things she said. She's been admonished by the judge. I don't care what any of you say. I guarantee you, she got admonished for what she said, accusing the state of withholding evidence. Not a good thing to do. Very unprofessional. She did some backstroking. We're going to show that. But she's going to continue in her smoke and mirrors. Remember that. Smoke and mirrors. That's Ann Taylor. She's full of it. So you guys have a great night, ladies and gentlemen, and I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Glad you got to see me. Take care. God bless.